I'm Dave Durst from Durst and Gans Building Corporation. We're general contractors, and I have been asked to put on a seminar. This is my first seminar, so you guys are in for a treat. So what brings you guys here? Why would you want to hear me? Talking about build design, design build, or just the building process? That's what we're doing, right? Okay. Has anybody here ever built anything? New construction, remodeling? Yeah, and did you have a good experience? So-so? Okay. Our company is a general contractor, and so we actually head up the whole process of whatever it is that's being built, remodeling, new construction. I've been doing this for 37 years, so I've made my fair share of mistakes, learned a lot over the years. Have you, in the building process, there's people that do what I do, general contracting, that have an overall scope of the process, and we're the ones that you would come to do the design work and then actually price it out and build it out. There are other contractors out there that are called trade contractors or subcontractors, and they are a specialty contractor. They may be a drywall outfit, or the electrician, the plumbing, the heating guys. Those are all specialty trades that work for a general contractor. And a general contractor has the expertise to pull all these pieces together, to have a project come together that's done in a timely fashion so that we don't end up living at your home, unless you really want us. Pardon?
You're gonna live there, you can help pay his bills.
Yeah,
Sorry, I'll pay rent.
The process of doing this is to meet with some building contractors, depending on the size of the job. You know, if you wanted to do drywall walls, I'm probably not the guy that you'd want to have do it. But if you wanted to, let's say, finish a basement where you've got a bunch of different trades in there, you're going to want the services that I provide. So to start with, we will meet with you in your home and chat about what it is that you're thinking about doing, and what are the things that you like and what are the things that you don't like in a remodeling job. Not an addition, but putting together a remodeling job. What is it that over the years you just can't stand? I've seen these products. I'd like to look at integrating those into my project. So that first consultation is free. We come out there and chat with you and try and get a feel of what it is you're trying to accomplish. We'll also want to chat with you about a budget. What is it, you know, I have this in my mind as far as what it's going to cost. I'm an expert and I've done a few of these projects over the years. It's really going to cost more in this kind of a price range. So we want to get an understanding that we're kind of on the same plane here, that the budgets match up with what it is you want to build. So that would be the first step. At that time, or even prior to it, you will want to talk to perhaps 2 or 3 building contractors, and what you're looking for is somebody that you can communicate with, because we're gonna be in your home. We're gonna disrupt your life. You don't want us there any longer than need be. A general contractor is going to bring that to the table, because I don't make any money if I'm there forever. So it's a two-way street. So you're looking for somebody that is going to take care of your needs, that you can communicate with, and is going to give you a good product in a timely manner. So you really need to go out there and find people, meet people. This is a perfect example of a place just to meet people and see if there's a connection there. If there isn't, I wouldn't proceed. If you don't get warm and fuzzies, don't go ahead with it. You would want to check their expertise. Are they a licensed contractor? How long have they been in business? You want to check to see what kind of trade associations they're part of, or you can check with the Department of Labor and Industry in the state. They're the ones that our licenses are held with. They have a lot of clout over what we do and how the warranties work and all of that kind of stuff. So, okay, I know I'm going to get out on different, I get sidetracked too much. So we met, and we'll come back, set up a meeting to put an estimate together for you to see if we're really getting going on the right foot. So we'll do some drawings for you, sketches, and put an estimate together that isn't going to be rock solid. It isn't a proposal, it's an estimate. So we can see if we're going down the right track. Are we communicating correctly so that you feel comfortable? I want to have hardwood floors. Well, what kind of hardwood floors are they? Are pre-finished? Are they what we call a strip floor, where we install the floor, sand it down, put either a stain over it or put a couple coats of poly? Those are the kinds of things that a general will bring to your attention that you may not have even thought about. Back to the estimate and the design. If we can get, if things are looking good that you'd like to proceed with it, our firm would want to put together a proposal, and we'd like to get more specific with what it is that you want to put in there. We're talking about hardwood floors. Are they pre-finished? If they are pre-finished, please note that, you know, here's the pluses and the minuses. The pluses with pre-finished floors, you got a micro bevel in there. So when you put all the pieces together, each piece has got like a V in between the two of them. Collects dust, collects dirt, collects food. Or you can put a strip floor in. I can tell you what is the cost difference. What is it that, what kind of if it was a kitchen, what kind of cabinetry do you want to put in? Modular cabinets, or do you want to put in a custom-made cabinet? I don't know that, but we're going to talk about it and to get a feel of where we want to go. And I say we because we're a team. We're working together to meet your needs, to make your dream come true. So anyways, we'll talk about that. If we go through that estimate phase, at some point after that, we're going to want to get a retainer from you, because we'll then be preparing construction drawings. So these could be taken to the city, and a permit can be pulled. So at that point, we've incurred some time to get to a proposal stage with some drafting, with some numbers that fit into the specifications that we have put together. I'll have 35 man hours into it, quite possibly. So at some point in that period of time, I'm going to have to be compensated for some of the work that I've done on your behalf. So that's all negotiated. We talk about that, but again, it's back to that communication. Do you trust me Do you trust your building contractor that you're talking with? You're going to have to decide that. If you go with a contractor that's very seasoned, he's going to make recommendations to you on, you know, you could do it this way, you could do it that way. Here's the pros and cons of either one of these products, let's say, you're putting into the project. So you want that. You want somebody that you can trust. So now we've gotten through the estimate and the design. Then we go into, we firm it up with a proposal. And the proposal, we've sat down and talked about all those issues, all those different subcontracts that we've talked about, and put numbers to it. And if everything is, if we're getting to agreement with that, then we prepare construction documents. So construction documents would be your boilerplate contract. You know, time is of the essence. What is enumeration of what the project is going to cost, how are you going to pay for it, what is a payment schedule. That'll be one of the documents. Another document would be the general conditions and specifications. At that point, the way I've done it is my proposal really becomes, after it's been modified and we've talked about things, becomes modified to the point that I use that for my specifications. You guys need to know what you're getting and for what price. And I need to know whether I can do it and make, you know, $1 at it, make a living at it. I'm not going to hit home run with anybody. With my experience and over the years, our philosophy is if we can take care of our clients, we don't have to worry about getting paid because they're so happy they're going to pay us. You don't want to get into confrontations. So the specifications are going to tell us we're all on the same page. Sure can.
Do you just do like entire rooms, like bathrooms and like kitchens, for example? Like if there isn't a bathroom there and we're going to put a bathroom there, do you do stuff like that?
Absolutely.
Like the whole project?
The whole project. That's what you're hiring a general contractor for.
That's right. Cool. Thank you.
Then after we get our written contract, then we talk about scheduling. And we wouldn't want to start a job for you until we have all the specifications filled in. So what kind of tile is it? Is it a stock tile or is it a special order tile? We'd want to know, we'd start honing in on what is the design of the tile. Let's say it's in a kitchen and we're doing a tile backsplash. Is it slate? Is it a natural stone? Is it a ceramic tile? How are we going to mix it? Are we going to have an accent in there? What is it? So we can drill down and get to an exact price. No. Yes.
Do you do all that, or does the subcontractor do that with the person that's, like the tile guy? Wouldn't the tile guy, isn't he the one that would sit out and say, these are the...
No.
You do that?
I will be involved in that. What I would put together for you is a selection sheet. Here are the selections that I need to have made. And if you go back to the proposal, because we don't know what it is exactly that we're doing, for instance with tile, I'll give you an allowance based off of my experience on what it costs to do these projects. So I want to get realistic with you right off the bat so that when you go and select that and you see that you're under or over with the square footage of what each tile costs, I can then communicate to you based off of the square footage that we're doing, off of the selection that you have come up with, how intricate it is. And if we start making cuts on tile and every tile needs to be cut, I can't, that gets to be very time consuming and costly. So that's where we're going to go with that.
Well, I was just wondering how much communication you have with that, what the owner would have with the subcontractors. I mean, is that your job is to work with them and, you know, I will communicate with you and then you tell them, or do I, you know, that's kind of a concern of mine. How, say something isn't right, you know, it isn't right, the tile isn't right or something. Do you go to the tile person or do you go to you?
No, you go to me. You hired me. Our contract is, you have a contract with me. You don't have a contract with a tile setter or a tile shower.
We just sit back and enjoy our lives.
Well, you should. And any project that you do should be enjoyable. It's gonna have its challenges. There's gonna be, no matter what we do to try and keep the dust down, there's gonna be some fine dust that we can't capture, drywall dust in particular. So there are going to be some things that you're going to have to deal with, and you have to look at the end goal and what people forget about the remodeling a few months down the pike because they're back in and they're functioning the way they would want to. So did that answer? Okay. I'm like an orchestra leader. You know, I'm also a babysitter. Trade contractors, a lot of them are not motivated. They'll get there when they get there. If that's the way it's going to be, then you don't work.
We all had in the past. Yeah, that's your headache, not ours.
Right. And my subcontract, I put together a team. I've worked with a number of these trade contractors for 10, 20 years. I've got a heating contractor I've worked with for 30 years. I'm looking for somebody that's going to put a good valued piece of a furnace in and stand behind it. The guys have to be neat and orderly, no smoking in the house, no cussing. You will respect my client. And if there are issues, I expect to hear from it because they may not be working for me later down the road. So to me, it's very, very important. I'm a German-born guy that is very persnickety about things being plumb and level and everything looking correctly, but functioning correctly. If I can't do that, that's part of my life. That's who I am. Again, back to looking at contractors. Who can I work with? Construction process will, like a kitchen project, will take somewhere, for our firm, and most, well, for any general contractor that does the kind of work that we do, you're going to have a month to 6 weeks, you know, being disrupted. We'll make sure, if it's a kitchen job, that you're able to have your refrigerator and keep things and have a microwave, but you're going to be short the range oven, that kind of stuff. Actually, it's a good deal for the wife because then she makes the husband take her out to dinner but you know, after a point in time, you get tired of eating out the same stuff. So anyways, when we start this job, we'll come in and protect all of your all of the things that are not part of the construction project. So if I've got to go from the front door to get to the kitchen, I'm going to put down rosin paper, masonite, and cardboard. So I can roll over that, I can walk over that, I don't have to worry about dirt getting all over the place. We will then erect some containment walls. They have zippers on them so we can go to and fro, kind of like the that you'd have on a tent. So now we've defined our work area and access areas. We've done all of the protective kinds of things that we can do to get started. At that point, then we start doing the demolition. So everything that we don't want's gotta get out. Yes, sir.
About the demolition, the stuff that the old appliances or what have you, do you charge for that kind of stuff to take it out of there?
Well, that's part of the contract price. Yeah. So I'm gonna pull your appliances out and go and recycle.
Sure.
You don't have to deal with that. So now we're demoing. There's a lot or a little to it, depends on what the project is. In one of the places where you start stepping up in what the cost would be is once you go into the ceiling, then all of a sudden you're dealing with ceiling textures and where are the break points, so it doesn't look like, oh, that's dark and this is light. So then all of a sudden it's the next step up in driving the price of a project. And if you can stay down low, redo the flooring, whatever it is, the kitchens, you're doing your cabinets and so on and so forth, the countertops and moving some electrical around, maybe you'd move the placement of the sink. We're just talking generally about that. So we demoed, now we start rebuilding. So remodeling is type of construction where you back up a bunch to go forward. So you look at this thing and it's being torn apart, and all of a sudden, things get started putting back together. We're going to do our mechanicals, rough-ins, so moving switches, adding recessed lighting or what have you, is all going to be done at that time. Once that's been finished, then we'll drywall. So getting from the point of starting to drywall will be typically week and a half, 2 weeks. Then after that, we've got the drywall sanded, we prime the walls. If we're doing a knockdown or a flat ceiling, we'll paint the ceilings, and then we start bringing all the goodies back in. So the cabinetry comes in and the countertops, and then we finish it out and put the fixtures back in, and the appliances come, and then it starts to look like something.
If we provide the appliances and some of the fixtures or what have you, and you guys just put them in how we agreed at the beginning of the contract, you just kind of put them in yourselves.
I'm going to put them.
For example, like I got the sink from IKEA or wherever, and then you just kind of put it in with the rest of the stuff yourself.
Yeah, that'll all be installed by us. The general contractor is the guy is a band leader. I would make this comment though, is if you start providing all sorts of things and we start installing them, for instance, let's talk about plumbing, plumbing fixtures, sinks and so on and so forth. If you provide those and they don't function right, the sink's got a crack in it, or fixture drips a lot, that becomes your responsibility because you provided it. Again, should I pay $20 more or not to have them provide the fixture? So now they provided it and installed it. You call me up and I tell you, we'll have a plumber over there take care of it. I'm done with things. Yes, ma'am.
Is it true that you guys as contractors can get a better grade of stuff that's way better to let you buy it than like he's saying, oh, you get this or that, or that even us going to a store, you guys have a better availability of stuff versus just typical homeowner?
True to some parts, not true to other parts. Plumbing fixtures, the guts of them that you buy at a cash and carry are going to be plastic per se, And if you buy through a wholesaler that sells to the subcontractor, yeah, there can be some better, they might have metal parts in there rather than plastic parts. Am I gonna buy better than you? Yes, because I do it continually. I have that relationship. You're going to be, if you do it yourself, you're gonna be the lowest person on the totem pole to get things done. Drywall contractor, he works for me all the time. And if he wants to keep working for me, he's gonna adhere to my schedule, and you come second. And really, I don't care about you, that's what it, forget that. I have a kind of a weird sense of humor. But anyways, sticks are sticks. You can buy studs at Menards or Home Depot. Chances are the material they buy there isn't going to be as straight as if you go to a lumber yard. For us, I'd much rather call on the phone, tell them what I need, tell them when I need it delivered. If there's leftovers, they come and pick it up. I mean, I don't have to deal with any of that. If I got an issue with a bunch of crooked studs, I send them back, give me credit for it, and they do. But how much time? You know, if you go to cash and carry and eyeball all these sticks, how much time, and then try and figure out how to strap it onto your car, what's it worth?
Or them set it out and have those owners that buy it out, they'll use, pay a couple bucks, have them bring it out to the house. Instead of putting it on the car. Instead of, get all the studs, instead of have a problem figuring out how to put the studs on our car, have them, the place where we buy it, have them deliver it. Unless you have a truck. I remember my dad had a kid and he went out, way out, 35, it's no longer there. And I remember he showed me how to do it, I said, oh, okay. I had to go with him, so I said, nope, we're good. That's not, I would take the time. Stand out there and have fun.
Do you like that, you're saying?
Yeah, it's kind of fun, it's relaxing, and it's out there, and I can remember when I was with my dad.
It all depends on what you want to do, with your time and what's your time worth.
But then at least I know I'm part of the process.
Okay.
Now, if I was doing a full house, that would be different.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there like kind of a standard, or like I want to just add a little addition to like a rec room? I mean, are there just kind of more or less standard type? I mean, I have no idea how big or small or.
It depends on, am I putting a crawl space in to put the addition on? Am I doing a full basement underneath it? Somehow it's got to be held up.
Right, it'd be a crawl space.
Okay, so then do we pour concrete in there or do we not in the crawl space?
Probably not.
Okay, then we're going to have a discussion about radon and musty smells and all that kind of stuff, where we could have poured the concrete for a really reasonable price and the guys wouldn't be banging their heads on the floor joist. So, that's what I'm going to bring to the table is, let's think about this. What's it worth to you? What's it worth to have a dry basement? And be able to use that crawl space for storage along with mechanicals, perhaps. So there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle. So we dug a hole, we put footings in, we put blocks in, we backfilled, we decided what we were doing with the crawl space. Then we start stick framing from there.
There isn't really like a typical, everyone does a 36 by a 42 or whatever. There is no, you know what I mean?
There is it all depends on what the existing structure looks like, and what is it that you're adding to it? What kind of impact does it have on curb appeal? Functionality, is the furnace big enough to supply the new space? I mean, there's just a myriad of things that need to be thought through that you don't want to make a mistake on. And if there are issues, let's say we put the furnace in and it's not pushing enough air, we can balance it. We can zone it with mechanical zones. We can do all sorts of things. Now, I don't know if you knew that or were thinking about that.
I need a new furnace and air conditioning, but I want to also build an addition, so I'm trying to, you know, I need to know what my addition's going to be so I can account for the new furnace.
Correct. And I would need to know what is this room going to function as? If it's going to be a junior bedroom or is it going to be a family room? I do have, a general contractor has dimensions in their heads based off of their expertise from the past on what should these rooms, what is a comfortable size?
Right, that was more or less my question.
I got it right? There is hope for me. There is hope. No, you know, a junior bedroom should be 12 by 12. Code says.
Family room, just a small family room.
Mm-hmm. How does it function? What is it that you want to get?
It's just going to have like a little bar area, and maybe an electric fireplace to sit by, a couch, and I mean, nothing huge, but you know, your typical small Bloomington home, adding just a family room.
Well, the design and how it functions for your lifestyle is very important.
I know, just kind of a starting point, so I can like do a tape measure.
And it is a process. You're going to spend way more time in the design process than it is going to be to build it, because we got to weigh through all of these variables.
Do you have projects that are too small that you would consider doing?
I'm not a handyman.
Oh,
You know, I don't do that kind of stuff.
Like redo a bathroom, do you rip out, would you consider doing that, or is that just?
I would consider doing that. I don't know if I would be the most competitive. If you bid me against my peers, like Pluck and Pull and those kinds of people, that's where I'm at. But I'm bringing way more service to you. There's a lot of unemployed carpenters that were doing bathrooms, and they could gut it out. They could pull fixtures out. They could do the ceramic tile. They do their own drywall and painting, and I mean they do all of those things, and they can make a living at it. Where I'm orchestrating something. I'm bringing something either to the plate that's different than they are. But then how long have they been doing it? Do they service it? You know, are they going to be here tomorrow? You have to weigh that out. But I would look at it. Any other questions? No? Okay, well, we built the place. I'll see you later. No. Then we do the post-construction meeting. Oh, when we're going through the building process, I, as a general contractor, will periodically call out for on-site meetings. One would be, we're doing electrical rough-in. Where are we going to put the lights? What kind of lights are they? Are there? Where are the switches going to be? I need to know all that. So I'll be at that meeting to overhear it. You'll be communicating with the electrician who's going to put it in, but I'm going to document it. I'm going to give you an update weekly. Where are we?
How often are you guys on site as compared to?
My partner, Jim Gans, is on site every day. Unless we're in some kind of phase. Let's say we're in sheetrocking phase. He'll be there to get the board situated and make sure that everything's going right, but he won't come there every day to watch him tape. There's no change in the process. So when we get to mechanicals, you'll see him every day. When we get to the finishing part of it, he'll be there every day. Jim and I are both carpenters. Jim runs the outside. He will do some of the stuff that other trade contractors won't go out of their way to do. He'll help an electrician fish a wire from point A to point B. You need to have a contractor that has either a laborer or really what we look for is a carpenter that doesn't want to do all the business stuff. He wants to put 8 hours in, go home, be done with it, and get up in the morning. That'd be the guy that I would look for to run that job, and Jim would oversee that. And we again, it depends on the size of the job, how busy we are, those kinds of things. So periodically we'll have a meeting on site. You'll get an update weekly at the end of the week, or usually that's when I'll say, well, we got this done, here's what's going to happen next week. This is where we're going to be. We have acts of God, including snowstorms. We have, there's things that are outside of our control. But knowing what it is that we're doing, what kind of materials are involved, and making sure they're in stock and so on and so forth, and setting up a timeline when we need to have those things. If it fluctuates a day or two, it's not a big deal, but I've got them. I need to have those. And I won't put up with it. If I say I want something by this date, I want it. If it can't be done, it can't be done. I'll then have to adjust my schedule. But we're looking for potential issues, problems, and try and cut them off before they happen. So, post-construction, we're going to have a meeting and we'll walk through the house and we'll talk about how things function, how to run whatever it is that you got, an HRV unit that you put in, heat recovery ventilation system. How does that function? How does it tie in with your forced air furnace and your air humidifier that you put on, your April air, let's say. We'll go through those things so that you feel comfortable with how it works. We'll also be around for a few weeks to make sure that if there are things that come up, that you're not stranded. Are you familiar with the state statute warranties? We're required, any building contractor, and a building contractor is somebody that does more than one piece of the construction. And he has to be licensed. I'll tell you a story after this, but where was I going with that? Pardon?
The statute, you said?
Oh, the statute, thank you. I'm sorry. The statute says that a general contractor will warrant everything that he's done, any improvement in the house, for 1 year. Anything that's mechanical, so plumbing fixtures, furnace, some of the wiring aspects are warranted for 2 years. And then any structural items that are installed in your house are warranted for 10 years. Now that's a state statute. If you pull that up online, it will also get into what is a defect and what isn't a defect. You got a crack in the basement floor. Well, if it's over 1/8 of an inch, now we have an issue. If it's a spider web crack, well, that's common. It happens. There's two types of concrete there. There's concrete that's broken and concrete that's going to break. That's just the way it is. But we try and minimize that by putting control joints in there, hoping that it'll break on the control joint. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Basements, it works more often than it does on a driveway. So state statutes, we're going to go through the equipment with you, make sure that you're real firm with that. I can do this. I can make this work. We're going to make sure that you're happy with all the miters and on the windows, or there's no chip in the countertop, or what is it that we don't like? And we're pretty good at policing ourselves to know what it is that are not acceptable, because it doesn't meet our standards. And you may find these things and bring it to our attention only to find out, yeah, it was on our own punch list. But I would rather hear it also from you to know that these are issues. She's paying attention. We've already got it there. We're going to get it done so that you're satisfied. What else can I tell you guys?
So that initial idea interview, that free one, you can give us like a rough estimate. Of course, there's, like you said, hiccups here and there, but you can give us a rough estimate of what you are going to do the project for.
I would give you ranges.
Yeah.
I won't.
Sure.
And if you give ranges, everybody's gonna, just like if I gave you a number, that becomes the number.
Right.
Or if it's a range, your number is always the lower end of it. So I try and steer clear of that, but I do know what projects cost in general. Kitchens cost X, additions cost X. Right. So I'm going to be able to say, yeah, it's going to be in this general area and price. Is that something that you want? Does that fit in your budget? If it doesn't fit, how much money doesn't it fit? Because I can bring to the table and say, well, we can change this or change that and get it back down into a range that is palatable to you.
Yeah, of course. Cool.
What else, guys?
You said you didn't have cars on you today?
I will go down and get some. Or better yet, pardon?
Can we get your information real quick?
Yeah. I can do it now. It's Dave Durst. Durst and Gans. Building Corporation is D-U-R-S-T and G-A-N-S Building Corporation. We're out of Chaska. Our office number is 952-448-7062. And we have a website. Check our website out. It's www.durstandgans.com. Pretty simple. Yes?
Do you who helps you with the design? Do you have like a designer?
We have an interior designer, a registered interior designer that works for us, and she does design on the interior. And some of the exterior, we have an architect that works with us to do all that.
Like for a kitchen, what we're thinking of taking down a wall, who kind of helps you with the layout, changing layout and stuff? Is it you that does that, or?
It's both of us. I work with Julie Thine. She's from St. Paul. She's a licensed or accredited. I don't know if they have licenses. I think the state was trying to put that mandate through last year. Anyways, she'll come with me. We'll set up an initial meeting and we'll talk about what it is design-wise that you are thinking about doing. More questions, because I don't have a lot to tell you.
Is there a ballpark figure for redoing a bathroom? Can you say per square feet? I have no idea. So I'm just trying to get...
A bathroom that's gutted and put back together, if it's a powder bath or a main bath, could be in that 10 to 15. If it's a master suite, it'd probably be 20 to 30. Depends on how you're going to appoint it.
Okay, yeah, I get it. I'm just trying to figure out what am I looking at.
10 to 15, 20 to 30. And again, you can find that, you know, that building guy that doesn't know how to run a business, so. Yes?
I was just curious, you said that you always use a certain heating and air conditioning person or company. Who was that?
Welter, Dray & Welter Heating. And if there are certain jobs that they don't do, hydronic systems or what else? Commercial projects, we do a lot of build outs too on retail commercial stuff. They don't do that. It's not in their wheelhouse, what their expertise is. Anything else, you guys? Here we go.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
He wants me to ask you a question. But we bought a home here recently. It's older. It's scooted right up against the creek. And so we're kind of wondering, could it be a tear down situation or new construction? How do you determine that?
Well, first of all, you got to figure out whether, if you're going to encroach further into the creek, let's say it's got to be delineated. It has been delineated. It's not something that you have to do. But are you going to encroach into that delineated area? Are you in a flood zone? Those kinds of issues have to be dealt with. We need to know what zoning says. The older home is grandfathered in, but you start going outside of the footprint that you have, we better know how their rules are, what it is that we've got to adhere to.
Yeah, and I did talk to the city of Bloomington, and the gal in planning said, yeah, I'm going to give you a conforming home on this lot. And she said, yeah, you could probably go toward the creek a little bit over here, but there's actually no build line, that the home's already kind of over on one edge of it. And, you know, we're talking about going away from the creek. So that part of it, you know, if we were to add on, I don't think would be an issue. But, you know, we have a slab home, no basement.
Mm-hmm.
And then multiple additions onto that, where we aren't sure what the footings are either. You know, so can you add frost footings onto the slab home?
If it was a slab, what year was this house built?
48.
I would think that there's some kind of a foundation below that. It might not be below frost. It might be just a couple of course of block and then a footing below that. But it's not just a slab that was poured with thickened edges, I don't believe. I mean, I haven't seen that in housing that vintage. It's usually got some kind of a foundation underneath it.
Would the city have record of that back?
No, not back that far. They keep stuff. You can find surveys that go back into the 70s. Building plans don't go back that far. They usually leave those, they get rid of those. Now, with the computer generation, a lot of that they'll scan and save because it doesn't take up a lot of room.